Hi, I'm Oscar and I'm a scientist. In today's episode, we're going to cover how long it takes to get your EB2 NIW green card, and that includes the preparation time but also the processing time for both the I-140 and the I-485 or adjustment of status. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Let's jump into it. Alright, so the timeline for this EB2 NIW really can be broken down into what I consider the three main steps to submit this application. First of all is preparing your case for I-140. This is really the step that takes more effort on your side, or if you're working with lawyers, and they will of course assist you with that. Then you have the I-140 processing time. That's the government times that they take to answer yes or no to your application or give an RFE, whatever it is. And then finally, once you are approved, then you will have to do an adjustment of status or I-485 if you are in the US, or consular processing time if you are abroad. And finally, you get the green card. So let's start with the I-140 case preparation, and I broke this down even further into smaller steps. The first thing you have to do is to understand this category very well. You have to spend a few days to a few weeks doing research, reading, understanding the requirements, and see if you can meet them. And for that, you can consult the USCIS website. That is always the official source of truth, and you should always start there. And then with other websites, like for example my EB2NIW.info, or other websites that are very good as well. And then you have the YouTube channels like this one or others. And just as a very high level summary, these are the requirements for this category. You have to have an advanced degree, or if you don't have it, you have to show progressive experience in the field. And almost or more importantly, you have to meet the three prongs of the Danasar rules. One is that you have to have an endeavor that has substantial merit and national importance. Two, you have to prove that you are well positioned to advance your endeavor. And three, you have to prove to the US that it is beneficial for the country to waive the job offer, because in this category, you don't need a sponsor. So you really need to make your case to the USCIS officer that it is okay for them to waive this requirement that pretty much all the other green cards have. So we'll go into detail about all these requirements in different videos, but for today, this is the high-level summary. So then you have to strategize on your case. You have to, what I would do to start doing this is I would polish and complete the CV so you can see what your profile looks like, what evidence also you will need to provide to support a lot of the claims you make. You have to decide on the endeavor. You will write in your petition what you are intending to do in the US, and you have to be specific. You cannot be broad. You cannot tell the USCIS that you will just be an engineer in the US or you will be a computer scientist. Now you have to give a specific endeavor that is concrete and that can be articulated in your case. Then you will look for gaps and see if there is any gap between your profile and what you are saying that you're going to do, and then you may need to do some work, and I'll cover that in number 3. And start thinking also, what do you need the reference letters to say, and who you want to provide those letters. For this, I would give 1 to 2 weeks of work. And of course, all of these estimates are just estimates, and you may need more or less depending on your particular situation. Number 3 is completing your profile, and this is an optional step, of course. Maybe you think that you already have everything and you don't need to do any work, but sometimes you need to make your case stronger. So, for example, in my case, and this is an example for researchers, I volunteer as reviewer for peer-reviewed journals because that's a really nice way of showing that I judge the work of others, and that's something that USCIS values positively. That shows that you are well positioned. So there may be cases like that where you see things or opportunities to make your case even stronger. So you may just delay a little bit the submission to gather that additional evidence that you can use. So for this step, I would budget 0 time. Maybe you don't need to do anything else, to a few weeks, depending on your case. I actually took a couple of months to really prepare my profile better. The next item is to contact potential recommenders. You have to reach out to those senior people that you want to get a letter from and request their collaboration. Always have more candidates for recommenders than what you need, because some of them may not answer, especially those independent recommenders that you don't really have a relationship with. Maybe they will just never reply your emails. So you need to have more candidates. And also keep in mind that these people are busy. They are senior professionals in their organizations. They have a lot of stuff to do. So you may need to follow up, and you have to have patience, and you may need a few days or weeks to deal with them. So I would budget 1 to 3 weeks to get their confirmation that they are going to help you. And in during that time, you can already start drafting the recommendation letters and get them signed once you have them ready, and once you have those recommenders agreeing to help you. So typically you will be the one drafting the letter, so you can help them also, so they don't have to spend a lot of time. Then they can review, edit, and sign, and that also allows you to make a very intentional letter, because then you will use statements from those letters in your cover letter for the petition. So really, it's part of the strategy to really make good recommendation letters that then you can use in your final petition. I have a separate video and a separate blog post on recommendation letters, so just check it out, and we can move on. I'll leave a link in the corner here and also in the description below. But for this step, I would leave approximately 2 to 4 weeks to draft the letters and get them signed. Of course, a very important moment of the preparation is to draft the cover letter and gather all the evidence for your case. So this cover letter is the central piece of the I-140 petition. In this letter, you're writing to the USCIS officer, making a really digestible case so they can understand it very well, and you hit all the points, all the requirements, and you provide the evidence as exhibits. So you need to write that letter, and you need to have those exhibits ready. For all the claims, you need to have evidence. So make sure you spend time gathering that evidence. And for this step, I would say 2 to 6 weeks makes sense for most cases. And before you send it, you have to review it, proofread it, and share it with others if you have some friends or colleagues that can help you take a read, especially if someone is not exactly in your field. Make sure they read it, and they should let you know if something is not understandable, because the USCIS officers, they don't have the technical background on your field. So you want to make sure that they will understand what you are saying to them. Then prepare the final package, and basically that's printing everything, all the covers for all the sections, organizing them well. And I have a blog post on that. You can go to my website and learn how I prepare my petition to make it really easy for the officer to go through. And for this, I would budget 2 to 7 days, so about a week of work if you are diligent. So conclusions for this portion of the process, that the time is variable. It will take between 1.5 months to 5 or 6 months, depending on a lot of things like your availability, your motivation, the responsiveness of your recommenders. And of course, if you work with lawyers, they will help you do part of the work, but this doesn't mean that the timeline will really shrink. In my experience, I actually did a green card with lawyers and another category without lawyers, and I ended up finishing my petition that I did by myself before the lawyers did. And I explained that in a video that I will leave a link in the corner and in the comments as well, so you can hear that story. So don't think that necessarily having lawyers will help you with the time. All right, so now that you put together the case, you submit it, and then you have to wait until the USCIS gives you an answer. So the processing times really vary depending on what visa center takes your case. and what is the current backlog or the current workload that the USCIS has. So right now you would submit it to Texas as of summer 2022. There's no premium processing, so everything goes to Texas, but then they may distribute it to a different center, which is Nebraska. And then how can you estimate what is the current expected processing time? So there is an official website which I list here, and I'll leave also this link in the comments in the description section. And I'll show you the screenshot of the website. You have to select I-140 in form, and then in form category you select the national interest waiver category, and then you select one of the service centers. In this case, I selected Texas, and then you click Get Processing Time, and you get a number. In this case, this was last month. They were estimated 20 months. And here I have the quote from the USCIS website, and this time means that this is the amount of time that took them to complete 80% of the cases over the previous 6 months. So this is a little bit past looking, is a little bit in retrospect, but it helps you getting a sense of what will you have to deal with in terms of processing time. It's just an estimate. Your case may take longer or less time. And once they receive your case, you will get a number, and then you can track the status of your particular case. So let's move on to I-485 processing time. This is the adjustment of status. Of course, if you are applying from abroad, then you would have a consular processing instead. But I think most people probably have to do adjustment of status. And in this case, there are really multiple centers that deal with this. You will submit, at least as of now, always check the official USCIS information at the time. But as of now, you would submit to a centralized location. I believe it's Chicago. And then they will give your case to an office that is near where you live. In my case, for example, I was in Massachusetts, so my case went to Boston. My case for EB1. But it is similar for EB2 as well. So check estimated processing times using the same website that I gave for I-140, which is this link. I'll leave it in the description below. And this is the screenshot where you would select I-485, employment-based adjustment applications, and then in this case, as an example, I chose Boston, but you will see that there's a lot of offices, and then you hit Get Processing Time, and then you get the estimate. Again, that's 80% of the cases from the previous 6 months were completed within that time frame. And you can also use this tool for other documents. For example, the travel document that usually you request at the same time as the adjustment of status, and that's the document that would allow you to go outside the country and come back without having issues. By the way, I have a video on traveling under during the green card petition time, and I'll leave a link right here. So unfortunately, the time that it will take to get the green card really depends on what country you were born. This is because there are limited number of green cards per year, and there is a cap of 7% per country. So this creates backlogs in those countries where there are a lot of applicants from. So just as a reminder, country of origin for USCIS is not nationality, but country of birth. So really where you were born really is what matters here. And then the priority date and the Visa Bulletin determine the wait time, if you have any wait time based on this factor. In my case, for example, I'm from Spain, and it is pretty much always current. That means that there is no additional wait time. So in the previous slides, we saw the estimated processing time. That will be it for me. There's no extra. But some other countries, for example, India and China, may have an additional wait time depending on these backlogs. And to illustrate this, here I have a screenshot of the receipt that you get once you submit your I-140. You will get a priority date. In this example, is somewhere in 2010. And then you go to the Visa Bulletin, and I have a video on Visa Bulletins. I'll leave a link right here as well, so you can see how to read this. But essentially you will go to the second employment-based category and you will see in which column you have to fall. In my case, for example, I would be in this column is C, is current, so I don't have extra time. But then if you are from China or India, you'll see a date here, and that's the date that will dictate when you can submit your adjustment of status. So, for example, if your priority date is after May 2019 and you were born in China, you cannot send your adjustment of status. So you have to wait to do that step. If you are from India, in this particular example, your case is even worse. You would have to wait until your priority date is after this Visa Bulletin date. So that adds some wait time for people from these two countries in this particular example, but always check the current Visa Bulletin to get the exact times at the exact moment you are doing this. One more thing that I wanted to add is that processing times are historically long in 2022. And if we see, for example, for I-140, you see how the time actually is the longest right now at about 11 months of average in 2022. The I-485 also is kind of the longest historically from the previous years, and so on for the rest. I think there has been a lot of there has been like a snowball effect in the last years, and hopefully this starts getting corrected now that it seems like they are trying to give more green cards faster than in previous years because of the change in the administration. So in conclusions, the EB2 NIW process can take from a few months to several years, and that depends on the particular case and how long it takes to prepare all the documentation for the petition. That was the first part of our three-part process. Then the exact moment of filing will dictate also what are the lines, the wait times for petitioners at the moment. But of course, the country of origin, we saw that really matters. So petitioners from China and India will wait more than others to complete the second step, the adjustment of status, because they will need to wait until the priority date and the Visa Bulletin date aligns so they can submit the adjustment of status and complete the last leg of the process. And that is it from today. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel to hear more about EB2 NIW, and later I will expand to other green card categories, for example, EB1. So until then, thank you for watching and have a great day.